Oh, let's get some W's in the chat, folks.
Common sense conservative government succeeded in cutting in half the amount of cars stolen, all while bringing down the cost of bureaucracy. This Prime Minister, though, is not worth the cost, nor is he worth the crime, nor is he worth the cost of the crime after 8 years. He has made bureaucracy balloon. Meanwhile, the Canada Border Services Agency are only inspecting 1% of containers. Will he follow my common sense plan to reduce bureaucracy and consultancy fees and to have more Border Services agents and scanners? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, organized crime is involved in car theft in Canada. That's why we gave Ontario $121,000 to fight organized crime and car theft. The Conservative Party, though, voted against giving that money to Ontario. We are fighting.
Bro, you can steal a car and be back out on the streets later that day.
Vote against that. Canadians are wondering why that party leader is defending organized crime rather than fighting car theft. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has made Canada the capital of organized crime and money laundering.
Yep.
And yes, it's true that he is spending a lot more money. The money he's spending is making bureaucracy explode and balloon. And this is for managers who cannot manage what they're responsible for. My common sense plan is to fire consultants and invest in Border Services agents and scanners to properly scan all containers leaving Canada in order to stop car theft. Will he follow my common sense plan? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, here's the reality. When we formed government in 2015, we had to undo the firing of thousands of Border Services agents that the Harper government cut. We had to rehire them. He is always suggesting cuts. Meanwhile, we are investing to fight money laundering, to fight organized crime. The Conservative Party seems to vote against all these initiatives.
The opposition.
What we cut was auto theft. That's right. We cut auto theft by 50% under the previous common sense Conservative government. And he's right. We did it at a lower cost to taxpayers. And he's also right that he reversed our reduction in auto theft because it has exploded by 32% since he took office, just as the bureaucracy has exploded. He has not put it into frontline officers. In fact, at the Port of Montreal, there's only 5 of them to inspect 500,000 containers, only 1% of which get inspected. Why won't he price consultants and bureaucrats and get boots on the ground?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
It would be more credible what the Leader of the Opposition was saying if he hadn't voted against sending $121 million to the province of Ontario to fight against organized crime and car theft. If he hadn't announced that he's voting against our fight against money laundering. Mr. Speaker, he still has time to change his perspectives and get behind our initiative to fight organized crime, to fight auto theft, and to stand up for Canadians. He cut thousands of jobs under his previous government from Border Services. We've invested in them, and we will continue to.
He still has time to change his mind.
The Honourable Member, Leader of the Opposition.
I'll say it softly and slowly so the Prime Minister can understand.
Okay, here we go.
We cut auto theft by 50%.
That's right.
By half. Yes, while reducing the cost of the bureaucracy. And yes, we are voting against him putting hundreds of millions of dollars more into high-priced consultants and back-office bureaucrats that don't stop crime. My common sense plan will scan every container going out of the 4 biggest ports and put 75 border agents to do the inspections on the ground. Why can't we have more boots on the ground and fewer bureaucrats in offices?
Let's go! Holy sh**.
He talks about boots on the ground, but the government he was part of, that he's taking credit for now, actually cut thousands of jobs, boots on the ground at the Canada Border Services Agency. We've continued to step up to support Canadians. They like to mention C5. It is a bill that kept mandatory minimum penalties for car thefts on the books. They mention C75, which is a bill that raised maximum penalties on car theft. We're going to continue to invest in fighting money laundering, and we hope, and organized crime, and we hope that the Conservatives change their mind and vote with us to crack down on organized crime.
You are the money launderer, you idiot.
I'm going to ask all members to restrain themselves as they can listen to the questions and to the answers.
Holy shit,
Leader
folks.
of the opposition.
He's hiked the cost, he's hiked the crime, he's not worth the cost, and he's not worth the crime after 8 years. He's also not worth the hypocrisy. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has been claiming for months that he had no involvement in or knowledge of the invitation of a former Nazi soldier to the visit of the Ukrainian president. Now we know that he personally invited that same individual. He actually said the opposite. And he said that the former speaker had to resign over doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He hold himself to the very same standard and admit that he's not fit for office.
Wow. Get your I did not see that coming sticker. Link in the description, folks.
Minister.
Tax that the leader of the opposition is choosing to make against the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress demonstrates the extent to which this Conservative Party no longer stands with Ukraine. In just a few minutes, Mr. Speaker, to stand and vote in favor of a free trade deal that Volodymyr Zelensky himself is asking.
He almost said Putin.
And he is choosing to not stand with Ukraine, not stand with Ukrainians, and not stand with Ukrainian Canadians. Why are they abandoning Ukraine?
They're not, dude. Conservatives are more pro-Ukraine than liberals.
Alors.
Order.
Thanks for watching the video to the very end. If you'd like to subscribe, I've made it very easy. You can do so by clicking right there. If you'd like to watch another House of Commons highlight clip, you can do so by clicking right there. And if you'd like to subscribe to my main channel, Mistersunshinebaby, where it's all Canadian political news, then you can do so by tapping up there. Subscribing is absolutely free. There's a button down below that says subscribe. If you'd like to join and become a member and financially contribute, you could do so as well. Thank you so much for watching this video.